good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Rizwan Akram here in Connecting the World. I'm here with a very special guest throughout the globe. So today, my guest is definitely more than special. He is none other than Johnny. He is a writer, he is a speaker, he is a coach, he is multiple tasking person. So Johnny, welcome to Connecting the World show.
Ruswan, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm very excited to share my thoughts with your guests as well as you. And so I'm all here. I'm all yours.
Johnny, first of all, would you like to share about yourself? Like you are doing a lot of things. I would like to ask, what should be your introduction? Like, what should I say that who is Johnny actually one profession?
Thank you very much. What's interesting about it is that I think if someone were to give you a file, a folder, when you were born and say, this is what you're going to do, yeah, sure, of course. It doesn't work that way. I'm originally from Malacca, Malaysia. I'm from Asia.
Oh,
I came to
wow.
the United States
You
to
are
go
my
to
neighbor,
college.
in fact.
Yes, I came to the United States to go to college when I was 18. 4 months after my 18th birthday, I landed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, United States, to go to college at Louisiana State University. A year after I got here, my father passed away. And so that sort of changed the trajectory of my life because overnight, my small family, my mom and my sister that's left at home, we're all kind of sort of in a financial crunch, so to speak. And so events that happened afterwards sort of made me make certain decisions to whereby I never actually set foot again in Malaysia for 15 years. So I lived here in the United States and work and built myself, my future. It sort of changed the trajectory of my life. My mom came and visited me 8 years later, and that was quite a shock, like I say, in a way, because when I left, I was, to her, a little boy, I guess, 18. And so when she saw me the next time, I was 25, 20, 26, so to speak. And so as a young man. And so that changes the trajectory for herself. But over the years, we kept in touch. And then while I was living here, in the course of different times in my life, I met 8 other wonderful women, that sort of mothers that was very nurturing, right? They were very nurturing and they were there to sort of help me along the way with life, basically. And they were my teachers, my coaches, my counselors. And so my
Wow.
mom was very thankful for that. And so the in the course of living here, and when my mom started coming over afterwards, so she was able to meet all these wonderful women, and we're very thankful that these women sort of became my surrogate mom over the years. And so she was very excited about that. And that led me to writing the book From My Mama's Kitchen, Food for the Soul, Recipes for a Living. And it's about motherly love, motherly recipes for living life, things that mom tells you that we don't want to hear. No, I don't want to hear that, kind of thing. But in reality, what's interesting, Rizwan, is that, they have so much wisdom, living wisdom, right? So we're not talking about our moms having to have a PhD, in mathematics or something. That's not the
Exactly.
point, right? But they sure have PhD in living, and that's what they share, the knowledge. And so with that knowledge, it helped me in my life's journey. I was very successful in the corporate world. At 33, I was a very young chief operating officer, and I was in that position for about 7 years, and then I left to start my own business. And during the course of being in my business for about 5 6 years or so, that's when I wrote the book. And you as a guy can understand this, because when I started writing the book, the concept was, my mom is getting older. It's a selfish thing, like I like some food recipes that I better start to preserve, because it's for me, not for her. So I wanted to preserve those food recipes for myself. And I approached all my other moms, and they agreed to give me some recipes. But for 7 years, I didn't get a chance to get it off the ground, simply because I don't know why. I just could not get it done. And then finally, in 2007, my then 90-year-old Italian foster mom called me up on New Year's Day. She always called me on New Year's Day and said that besides wishing you Happy New Year, I'm wondering when are you going to finish the book? And I hope you finish it before I die. And I was like, oh, yes, definitely. So anyway, so that's how the book came about. And then what happened was, in the course of writing the book, what's interesting is that the food recipes were no longer important. What was important was their knowledge, their wisdom that they shared with me. And so I ended up writing about recipes for living life, all the wonderful, timeless wisdom that mom has encountered in their life about people, life, and laughter about living life that I had certainly taken advantage of, like say, and used, and I've shared that with everyone else. So the book was released with the endorsement of the National Association of Mother Centers here in the United States. It won 5 awards, and then it hit the bestseller list in 3 different categories. And then so that changed the trajectory of my life, because I ended up speaking about the power of unconditional love. And so, but it's exciting. It's wonderful. I enjoy that. So now I help people to understand, the many things that we go through life, the 4 cornerstones of life, and how can we all operate in our genius zone to experience harmony and joy in everything that we do.
Beautiful, Johnny. Definitely, you have done something that is amazing. Uh, like you haven't written a book. Actually, you have paid a tribute to your mother, and every son wish to do so.
Yeah, the book was a tribute to them, and then I'm currently working on my second book, and the second book is about me versus them. So now, it's sort of a follow up, a wonderful situation where I'm looking at, now is an opportunity for me to speak about my journey and how that, life is always full of challenges, uh, valleys and hills, so to speak. And so the opportunity is to be able to understand that regardless where you are in life, if you focus on what I coin as, regardless of where you are in life, always lean towards heaven. There's something, there's a reason for you to be doing what you're doing and experiencing what you're doing. And then from there, of course, the essence of resiliency, and especially in today's world right now, with the uncertainty with the pandemic and so forth. And this is just not only here in the United States, and it's all over the world. So I speak about resiliency, how to design your life to be able to still experience harmony and joy and be in your genius zone with the power of resiliency.
Johnny, definitely, you have written the book about Mom's Kitchen. I
Yes.
would like to ask if you would like to narrate the story, how your mom's upbringing, where she got birth, how she lived her life, like how was her childhood when she brought up, how was the world in her eyes? Would you like to narrate?
Well, this is the interesting part, because I have 9 different moms, and I describe all these women differently. I gave them, for lack of a better term, title. Like, my Malaysian mom basically is my adopted mom. I was originally adopted by my Malaysian mom at birth. And her story was quite interesting because she grew up during the Second World War. Her
Wow.
and my adopted father, they both during that time. And so she actually went through a tremendous amount of pain, because she could never have her own child, because she had 3 miscarriages. When she had her second miscarriage, she actually adopted my sister, who is actually from a different family. And then she actually was pregnant with a son, with a little boy. and she had a late term miscarriage because at that time people work very hard, very labor intensive and all that kind of stuff. So she had a miscarriage about 7 months into and it's a boy. I mean, obviously they know, they could tell her it was a boy, and so that was devastating for her. And then she actually adopted another boy just a few months later, and the boy died after a month.
Oh,
And yeah, it was amazing. Of course, nowadays, you hear about maybe crib death or something like that, where the baby may have turned over or something. Who knows? So, like, you're talking about, like, wow, it's like, what the heck just happened? And so she was very concerned. And it so happens that from my father's side, um, there's a cousin that has many children, and I was the last one. And usually, in Asia, they don't give away boys, right? They give away
exactly.
girls, unfortunately. And so,
Yeah.
but my maternal mom has always been so adamant about telling my mom, "Don't worry, if this is a boy, it's yours." It's like, very interestingly, yeah, it's yours. Okay. So my mom and my dad actually, and of course this is a more of an Asian culture thing. She was concerned, and so she actually went to see a sage. And they have a lot of wise people, divine people, I guess, in some ways. I'm sure there's some in Pakistan as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so she went and see, both of them went and see this gentleman, and this gentleman was very, very interesting. He said that this boy is meant for you. It's just resting in the person's womb.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was telling my mom that there will come a point in time in his life he has to go far away from home. Now, don't forget, mind you, now, this is back, during just after the World War. And of course, well, actually, it's in the 60s, so, but the idea was like, never even thought about, like, halfway around the world kind of thing, right? So, it's just like, okay, there will come a time he has to leave. The further he goes, the better he is. And you have to let him go. And then the other thing, which is very interesting, I don't know where you can see my hand here, where you see this line, right? It goes all the way across
Uh-huh.
the lifeline, right? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
My adopted father has it on the right hand, on his right hand. This guy,
Wow.
this sage was able to tell them, my mom and my father, this little boy has that line on his hand.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, who knows? That's what I'm saying. It's like kind of incredible, right? So when the time came, when I was 18 years old, uh, my father was already actually sick. So he was sick when I was about 15 years old. He got sick, but no one thought he would just, like, passed away. Obviously, and so he was reluctant in saying, "Well, this is halfway around the world here we're talking about, right?" So my mom reminded him that, you remember what the sage said. So far, everything he said has been true. So, we have to make a decision here whether to let Jhony go to America or not. Now, I did not know all this information until my mom came and visited me. Remember, 8 years later, after I was already
Mm-hmm.
here at 26, that's when she told me the story. And it's like, wow, this whole thing. She kind of told me the whole. I knew some parts of it, but certainly not this heavy into this what the guy said and everything else. Yeah, so it's quite fascinating from that standpoint of view. But having said that,
Exactly.
how they learn, if you look at it very carefully, we all tend to think about education as going to school, finish 12th grade, and then, like, 6th grade elementary, and then middle school, and then high school and universities and so forth. Believe me, that's very important. But then there's another university that's very, very important, is the
Oh,
University of Life. Practical
beautiful.
application of yourself. And so what our parents, in all actuality, and especially our moms, they are educated every day in things that they do. Common sense stuff, real life, real situation. And those are the things sometimes we ourselves, the quote unquote educated one, takes it for granted, if you think about it. That's where they develop resiliency. That's where they develop patience. That's where they develop, the ability to be, to be creative and so forth. And that's the exciting part, because my mom grew up, when she's old enough, at 6 years old, it's kitchen 101. They all have to cook, right? And then fast forward, my other moms that I mentioned, say for example, my Italian foster mom, she's actually much older than my Malaysian mom, right? So she grew up in America, and we heard about the Great Depression and all that, right?
Yeah,
In America, and we're about going through one right now. but
yeah,
she was growing up, and Carol was telling me that it was funny because she's Italian, and she says, we used to cook this. We have a huge family. They used to cook pasta, like spaghetti. I'm sure you heard. They have
yeah,
like
definitely.
plywood table, and people, the mom would just scoop up the dish, put it on the table, and you eat it because that's all you got. So they learn resiliency, they learn hope, they learn to have faith, they learn how to look through the lens of love to survive. And so these are the powerful living skills that are not taught in school, because you have to experience it firsthand to be able to fully understand the weight, the wisdom that you learn from it. And then naturally, it's not like you start writing a book and pass it on to your son or whoever, but situations will dictate, right? Things that, Rizwan, you are right now, I don't know how old you are, but you have experienced life. Okay. Now, whether it's your immediate family or friend or whatever, or someday one young person may come and, sir, I'm having a tough time. I don't know what to do, man. I mean, I sense this, but you have gone through and you can say, well, guess what? These are the things that you can go through. Have faith in building yourself. Start looking at what are you good at. Don't lose hope. What lens are you looking through? Are you looking through the lens of fear, or are you looking through the lens of love? When you look through the lens of fear, it's about you. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. But when we look through the lens of love, it's always about the other person. How can I contribute to the other person, right? When you do that, you get
Yeah,
excited. When you think about yourself, that's when, oh, well, self doubt, that kind of thing. But when you think about the other person, you dust off and you're all set, you're ready to go and help the other person.
beautiful.
Right. So, what I do is that I remind people that in all of us, like what my mom says, there's a seed of greatness in us. This seed of greatness is responsible for our success. The genius within us help us to define our goals, dreams, and desires. And the talent in us help us to accomplish them. That's the difference. So when we put ourselves in that mindset,
Johnny, can you repeat the phrase? I have to listen it again.
sure, in every one of us, there's a seed of greatness. The seed is responsible for our success. The genius in us helps us to define our goals, dreams, and desires. And the talent in us help us to achieve them with a heartfelt passion, because that's what we want to do. We go for it. And then if you think about it, and I tell people, I said, take a moment each day to create with your heart, because passion is creating with your heart. And then let your mind formulate how you're going to accomplish it. Take, for example, like you. I mean, you're doing this. Is it a job or is it something that you enjoy? It's both,
I
maybe.
love
Does
I
that make
love to
sense?
connect people.
Yeah, because you enjoy, right? Okay. And it's a passion. You enjoy, I mean, respectfully, I'm not saying, I'm just saying if you happen to get paid for it, it's even better. But it's the enjoyment. It draws the best out of you. And that energy is very important because we live with vibrational energy. What our vibration attracts all the good things in life to come to us. So that's the difference.
Um, Johnny, I have certain question like um, we are the nation with digital technology,
Mm-hmm.
with artificial intelligence, with robotics, with doing a lot of things, going to moons, Mars, other planets throughout the galaxy.
Right.
But don't you think that our ancestors
Mm-hmm.
are much more wiser than us?
Can you repeat that the last part?
Our fathers and their fathers, our grandfathers,
Mm-hmm.
are more wiser than us.
Yes and no, because wisdom comes from your willingness of wanting to learn something new. Curiosity, curiosity drive wisdom. If you think about it, you get up today, and if you tell yourself, for today, I don't care about tomorrow. Obviously, yesterday is gone, right? Just for today, I'm going to allow curiosity to educate me about myself, others, and the world. Now, why is myself first? Look at yourself, for example. Okay, when you look at the surrounding, well, I want to see. I'm trying to this new idea here. I'm putting this new gadget. I want to see what happens. Or maybe this look is a better look for me right here when I interview people. That way. You know what I'm saying? Like curiosity, right? Educate us
Yeah,
about ourselves, and then about others. You're learning about other people. Do you have to agree with everything they say? Obviously not. I mean, but the reason is because you want to hear their point of view. For example, if I hold a pen up here, what you see, there's no, all pen has the little thing to go into the pocket, right? But if I hold it
yeah.
right here, I'm saying, oh, don't you like the pen? Of course you're going to say, yeah, yeah. But then you don't see this. I'm trying to tell you all kinds of things about this, and it's like, what? He must be an idiot. That's not. I don't see that. You see? Okay. So, but you have there is a certain amount of education there, right? Because then, oh, what do you actually see on that side? Then I start expressing it and say, oh, the beauty of this, the little curve, and all that kind of thing, and it's oh wow. So that is educating ourselves about others. And then finally, the world. We're in a global community. The world is so small now. You and I are talking, we're almost halfway around the world, right? I mean, could that happen, what, 20 years ago? No, if you think about it. Real life, real time. Can we talk about it 20 years ago? Not really. And we can talk on
Oh,
the phone, but not on, what we're doing right now. You see? So I think, the wisdom is always there. That's why I've said, in every one of us, there's the genius zone. Are you going into the genius zone? The genius zone is the authentic you. It is also your strength, your weaknesses, your fear, your anxiety, all combined together. It's just not about, I'm just great at this. No, because as you understand your strength and also your weaknesses, your anxiety and your desires, your fears, and so forth, all those are your assets because that helps to ground you. That makes the total you. Now, in America, and I'm sure even in Asia, the word authenticity is a big word. Oh, yeah, be authentic, But you know what? Authenticity without integrity is not very good. Integrity is very important. Years ago, to give you one of my mom's recipes for living, right? My Southern Belle mom in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, actually my host family, right? She always say, Johnny, your charm can open doors for you. Your personality, your charm. Oh yeah, come on in, and so forth, right? Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, you're a charming guy, your personality. However, to keep the door open is your authentic integrity. You think about it.
Good.
People may invite you over once, twice, three times, but as they found out about you, I'm busy, I'm sorry, I can't meet with you today. Right? It's your authentic integrity. You see? Your
Yeah,
authentic charm may open doors, but your authentic
exactly.
integrity that keeps it open. So it makes sense.
Johnny, uh, when you are doing something like it looks amazing today, I keep it doing. It
Hmm.
may be amazing for a month, maybe a few months,
Hmm.
but after a few months, I thought that it's getting me boredom. The things that I was enjoying previously, now it's looking like boredom for me. I have to do something else. Now a lot of people are doing the same thing.
Hmm.
I have to move towards another step. What
Right.
is this? Either is it a passion, because passion is one thing I hope so in life,
Hmm.
but what are you doing? Like if you are getting crazy for something initially, but after a few months you get retract from it, you can it's enough, like I have full my belly and I have to move.
Right. So you have two different scenarios here. One is actually, respectfully, you may have ADD, attention disorder deficit. You can't concentrate on one thing. You have to do so many things, right? We all go through that. Trust me, we all go through that. We dabble with too many things. I think, and I speak of this firsthand in the sense I don't have ADD, but I'm creative. I'll start this and then I start that because I like get bored. Oh, well, I need to do that. I always explain to people, like as if when you go to the circus, right? You got circus in Pakistan also, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you watch the person that twirled the plate. They put a
Uh-huh.
plate on the stick. The plate goes, and then he start another plate. The spin on the stick, and then he goes to the
Yeah,
next one, and then before you know, it, he's got like 10 plates trying to keep
exactly.
up. Right? So that it won't fall. So our mind, that's the genius of it, because we start this, it feels great, and then, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that, but what we fail to understand is that we have to complete things, and the completion comes from what is our desire. Because if we're doing it for ourselves, you're right, we get bored real easily. But if we are trying to contribute to someone else's success, then what happens is the end of that creativity is determined by the goal that we're trying to accomplish. That means, we are actually trying to contribute to someone else's success. And that success is different. Now, it's okay. Once you completed everything, then you move on to the next one. But that's part of living and that's part of growing. There's nothing wrong with that. When I started, to give you an example, I came to go to college. You know how we Asians are, oh, we got to be an engineer or, of some sort, right? Because, oh, that's where the money is at. You got to do this, very status quo and so forth, or be a doctor or something like that. And then I realized that, of course, when my father passed away, that cost a lot of money to do all that and time. I needed to get out of college very quickly. I need to support myself and my family. But I end up doing something that I really like, Rizwan. What I really am good at, even as a child and a teenager in school, I realized that I always happen to be in the leadership position, captain of, teams and stuff like that. And so what happens that as
Amazing.
you allow your natural you to come out, you find yourself that you start enjoying. You are getting bored with certain things that you do because that's not the complete you. Life is a buffet line. You want to taste everything, and please do, because you have the chance, to taste all the different food. You like it, you go back second time, third time, but don't just get stuck on the first dish because you got so many,
Uh-huh.
right? And then you will find out that,
Yeah.
this is what I really, 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 really like. because it's in alignment with me. I enjoy that. Why are you doing the radio show? I mean, this talk show. There's a reason for it. I want everybody to know me, or I want to learn. Oh, you know what? I'm not only learning, but I want to share my knowledge with somebody else and help others. Soon you will find out which is more important. We will always be learning, but if your desire is to help others, that road never ends. If that makes sense, right?
Definitely. It sounds great. Now
Right.
the last question we are going to be, as
Sure.
we are out of time now, how to write a book. Like I love to write, but when I write 2 or 3 pages, I feel that it's not. And then it takes so many days for me to write something. Some like ideas come to my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and then I start writing. I wish to write a book, but
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find myself composed enough to make it in a goal, like completely starting in a passion and doing it in a month, 2 or 3. I feel something like I have to write something maybe within a month, one article, then I start saying
Mm-hmm.
maybe after fortnightly or something happens. How can you compose yourself?
Writing a book also has a flow, what we call a rhythmic flow. Okay. First and foremost, you got
Okay.
to ask yourself, what do you want to write about? That's the most important thing. Okay. Then just start writing. You're not writing chapter one. You might
Oh,
be writing chapter 10. It doesn't matter. When you feel like it, you just write it down. So what happens is that even when I compose my book, I just, that moment in time, this is what you do. You at least you have to be disciplined enough once a day, just for 2 hours.
hmm,
2 hours, not 6, 7 hours a day. Don't
hmm,
everybody has their own style, okay? But I can tell you
okay.
right now, if you just sit down for 2 hours a day and just say, okay, what I'm going to write today, and just write what comes to you. That's it. Finish. It's 2 hours. It's gone. The next day, you might write something else, and it doesn't matter. It don't quite connect. You write it.
Okay.
Right. The third day, this is the interesting part. I'm just going down like third day or whatever. I have nothing new to write. Go back to the day one product, day two, edit.
Uh-huh.
Read the story, what you just wrote, and it tells you something. Read this story. And before you know it, you may say, you know what? I can combine this one versus that one. And it actually, like instead of 2 pages, now you only have one. Or then maybe you have this one on this side, that one. You see what I'm saying? So you are
Yeah.
putting your mind in that sort of a zone. But if you're thinking, I got the whole book up here. No, I'm not saying people don't. I'm just telling you, those who aspire to write a book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction or life story, that's what it is. Because the greatest challenge is, especially nonfiction, is the fear. How much do I want to tell people? Or how much do I don't? Or maybe, oh, not that one. Oh, they already know that. I don't need to mention that. No, just write it down based on what you know. Fiction is different because fiction, you're sitting there, I wonder one day this, that, you see what I'm saying? It's very different. But nonfiction book is a little bit different.
It's
So I think
once upon
if
a
you
time.
follow that, it'll work. If you follow that discipline, just 2 hours a day. Don't go sit there for 6 hours. You're trying to get everything out. It's not going to happen. I did it 9 months straight. Every night I come home from work and I just sit from 8 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock and just start writing. And days that I don't write, before you know, I'm starting to read. Oh, okay, yeah, I need to correct that one. You know what? That one sounds better with this. And then pretty soon you have enough to whereby first I write and then I start typing, moving it in the process of transferring it. Yeah, I like this one better instead of that one. You see what I'm saying? So You're not
Yeah.
thinking about anything new, but you're reconstructing what you already have. But that's what life is, right? Because there are days that you're not thinking about that. You're just trying to. It's like they're saying, "Are you having a new house?" No, I just cleaned up my house. You're not, right? Yeah, every so often you clean your house. You wipe things down or whatever, right? It's the same thing. And then you might say, "Oh well, while I'm cleaning, I want to move this over here. I think it looks better," right? That's what you're doing. So writing is the same thing, but you have to decide to to know what you want to write though. What are you planning to write? Your story, or is it fiction or non-fiction? What are you wanting to write?
I'm gonna write about counseling, uh, mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
about coaching,
Mm-hmm.
about giving motivation to people,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Fantastic. Coaching. Forget about the mind and all that. Write about one page is just coaching. Just coaching. What is coaching to you? That's it. Forget about all that. And then because you just mentioned all the title already. Mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Forget about coaching. Forget about spirituality. What is mindfulness to you? Right? Everything you got mindful. Boom. What happens is
Good.
that became your notepad. Does that make sense? Later, if you want, because you were putting it down on paper so that you can have more stuff coming in. Because right now it's all jammed. Well, there's a little coaching here, a little mind here. You got to take it out. Think, think like a computer. You got to save that so you got more space. You see? Uh,
I got it.
yeah, you'd be very surprised at how the energy will flow. Take it out. Yeah, got that. Yeah, and it's on my hard drive somewhere. I need to. And so I guarantee you, it will start flowing because you just said all those words right there. So for each word you mention, you can write 2-3 pages on that alone. And the question you ask yourself is, what are my thoughts about each and every one? And then, what do I want to do with it? First is, what are my thoughts about it? And the other one, what am I wanting to do with it? All of a sudden, right now, you're building it up just like that.
That's cool. That's really amazing. Johnny, thank you so much. You have given me a plenty of time. It was really worth listening to you. And I'm inspired by the things you have done so far. It's really amazing, especially a tribute to your moms and a beautiful life you have. I wish you very best of luck for all the things you are doing so far.
Well,
And
thank you very much.
love to learn from you all the time next time in future.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a true pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to run my mouth, so to speak.
You
It's been fun.
you are a beautiful soul, and I wish you must end this live session by your last words as message, maybe last thoughts, maybe.
Only thing I could tell everyone is dream larger, achieve greater, and become spectacular. You can do it. Everyone can do it. Dream larger, achieve greater, and become spectacular.
Thank you so much, Johnny. It was really beautiful talking to you. Thank you once again. You
Thank you.
have made my evening as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless.
So nice of you. Stay blessed. Have a very blissful day and week ahead.
Thank you.